What's up, everyone? In this video, we're going to go over whether or not the stock market is finally about to bounce up. So it has been a brutal year so far for stocks. I know a lot of people are wondering, like, when is this bleeding going to end? When are we going to see it pop up? And that's exactly what we're going to talk about in today's video. So we have some good news and we have some bad news. The first thing I want to talk about is the good news. So the good news is that most of the major market events are finally out of the way. The CPI report came out today. It was bad, but it came out, so the market doesn't have to worry about that anymore, at least for now. The FOMC event already happened. The next FOMC event will happen on June 15th. And for the most part, the major stock earnings are out of the way. We have a couple big companies sprinkled in here and there with earnings, but for the most part, earnings are done for a little bit. So the stock market doesn't really have too much to worry about for the next couple weeks. So that's relieving. The bad thing is that when we do get in these spirals of just horrible selling pressure like we're in now, normally it creates a giant snowball effect. And that's the bad news. So it's like, even though most of the major market events are out of the way for now, at least, when you see selling pressure coming in, it's obviously great for short sellers, but it also discourages people from buying because there's increased fear overall. And then on top of that, when you have stocks plummeting, like poor Netflix that's down like 75 or 80% from highs, when you have that happening, not only do you have short sellers loving the movement, not only do you have lack of buyers coming in, but you also now have, people who own the stock starting to dump their shares because they saw the stock go from 700 down to 500, down to 400, down to 300, down to 200, and now they're wondering if it's going to go down to, $50. So then they sell out and it just makes it that much worse. So all in all, there are some good things and there are some bad things. Looking more at like price action wise, I do see a pop-up in the short term, okay? Nobody knows the bottom of the stock market, not even Warren Buffett. But what we do know is that when we look back throughout history, almost always when we see giant quick drops, a lot of times, even if it's only for the short term, we do see some sort of pop back up. Even if we look in the beginning of this year, there was a gigantic drop from January 13th all the way down to January 24th. We did see a nice, respectable pop after that. You could even say the same thing on February 24th to March 3rd. You can say the same thing from March 15th all the way up to March 30th. And like almost always, even if we go back to the COVID crash of March of 2020, we did see a lot of respectable pops throughout that selling frenzy, you can say. And we are yet to see that as of the past couple weeks. So I do expect some sort of bounce in the short term. It doesn't mean it's the bottom. For the long term, there's still a lot of risk. There are some definitely some scary risks out there. I know some people are kind of signaling that we are heading for a recession. Obviously, this inflation data is not good at all. On top of that, the Feds are expected to hike rates quite a bit over the next couple months, which will slow things down, which is ultimately a good thing for the long term, but it definitely hurts in the short term. So that's another thing to worry about. But all in all, I definitely am expecting some sort of pop in the short term. It is good to see some, not all, but some of the growth companies holding pretty strong today. Roblox is one of the poor growth stocks that got absolutely destroyed. It went from $141 all the way down to $21.65. And actually, yesterday and after hours went all the way down to $20. There was a lot of selling pressure, but it eventually reversed, and now it's up around 10%, and it was up like 18%, like an hour or two ago. So it is good to see some of these plays showing signs of life. So that's good. Of course, there are still a lot of stocks down, but it's nice to see some stocks holding up better than others. And another good thing is if we look at the heat map, while some of the powerhouse companies are down, a lot of the other stocks are not. So check this out. Yes, we have Apple down. We have Microsoft, Nvidia, CRM, Facebook, Amazon, and Tesla down. And they are the most, powerful, significant companies in the market. But besides that, there is a lot of green out there. The energy sector is booming. Bank stocks are not looking too bad. Visa and MasterCard are hanging in there. Johnson & Johnson's doing okay. Pfizer's doing okay. Some of the value stocks are doing okay. So it's like, it is good because it's not like a ton of stocks are falling right now. It's just, the big boys are taking their time. So Apple, Microsoft, and the other ones. So, that is good. Hopefully it turns around, and most of the time it does when we see sell-offs this drastic. So we'll see what happens. And that does not, and another thing I want to say is, that does not mean that the stock market's going to be green today or green tomorrow or anything like that. But overall, we are at a pretty big support level as well, right around $400 on the SPY. So hopefully we see some buying pressure there. And remember, while it hurts like hell right now with the stock market falling, ultimately these are the opportunities that are amazing. If we didn't have giant sell-offs like we have now in the stock market, we wouldn't have the opportunities that are game-changing, you can say. When there was the most fear in the market in March of 2020, that ended up being the best buying opportunity. And you can say the same thing for any other bubble throughout history, whether it's with the stock market, cryptocurrencies, or whatever you want to say. Real estate, it doesn't matter. Businesses, sometimes the market's irrational, and while it's dumb and it hurts sometimes, that's what makes the market awesome, because it provides the opportunity. So overall, I hope you guys learned something from this video. If you liked it, make sure to subscribe and let me know in the comments what you guys think about this crazy market. The volatility is insane. But again, thank you guys so much for watching.